Enter the wish or imaginative occupancy. If you've ever been frustrated or felt that there were endless delays, confusion in terms of what you desire to manifest, well, I suggest you watch this video. Have you ever been frustrated with how to feel it real in terms of the state of your wish fulfilled? That it's not effortless, that you are confused, sometimes more than ever. Well, this week I will be talking about how you step into, how you get into the state of the wish fulfilled. And I'll be doing some exercises as well, so make sure that you stay to the end. The struggle that many people have in terms of manifestation or getting into the state of the wish fulfilled is their ability to focus their imagination and marry that with the feeling. So this is what Neville talks about in terms of feeling is the secret. I haven't watched my first series that I did on feeling is the secret, where I break down how you actually start to feel it real in terms of your dreams and your desires. I suggest that you watch those episodes. There are 4 of them, and I talk about how you actually go into the mechanics. I break down the steps in terms of getting into the state of the feeling of your desire. Now, the other challenge is that many people will hold a state of lack when they are wanting to manifest something, when they are wanting to feel their desire real. So I'm going to be talking about how you also overcome that. The reason I go into all of this in helping you understand the mechanics behind manifestation and how you actually can apply Neville's teachings is, if you don't understand, you're going to miss out on being effective. Not knowing how to enter the state of the wish fulfilled, not knowing how to imaginatively occupy the state will cost you time, may cost you money, resources, pain, heartache, trial and error. And I'm sure you want to become better at manifesting. You want to become better at applying the rules. You want to become better at becoming the operant power. In this video, I will be covering self-abandonment. How do you do that? Why the psychological move is actually so important and how to do that. And then I've got a couple of exercises. So I have a special exercise for you guys in terms of imaginative occupancy or entering the state of the wish fulfilled. My name is Fazila Bijo, and welcome to Imagination Creates Reality, where I show you how you can apply the teachings from the mystics like Neville Goddard, Joseph Murphy, Florence Scovel Shinn, so that you can be more effective at creating your individualized reality. And that's what I do. Amongst many things, I am a multi-talented, multi-passionate healer, mentor, teacher of metaphysics, spiritual development, imagination. I'm a self-mastery and consciousness coach. I guide and lead visionaries, leaders, coaches, therapists, and individuals who have a high achieving mindset, who are actually running a couple of tracks in their life where they want to learn how to become the creators and manifestors of their life. You're creating reality all the time. You are manifesting all the time. You may not be liking the results that you get. This is where my zone of expertise lie, is that I can help identify and we rectify those areas of your life that you're out of alignment, whatever's holding you back, your limitations, and also how to expand on those things that are actually working for you. So for this week, we're going to delve a bit more into Chapter 1, Imagining Creates Reality, of the Law and the Promise. If you want to amp up, if you want to add to your repertoire of your spiritual and your consciousness development, I would suggest that you read along the chapter. I am spending a little bit more time going into the chapter so that anyone who comes to these videos is able to follow along and they can expand in terms of their awareness and expand in terms of their reality. This, guys, actually, your imagination is the limit. There is no limit to what you can do. And with me as your guide and mentor, I promise you, You're going to learn how to apply the law of assumption, imagination, how the laws of creation work. So this week it is about entering the wish fulfilled. By now, if you're familiar with the channel, you will know that I use these slides so that they are illustrative and they can help you understand the teachings that Neville has given to us a lot more in detail and in a simpler way. Last week, I went over the mystery of imagination, how imagination is not unlike virtual reality, and what Neville speaks about in terms of faith, believing the unbelievable. This week, we look at self-abandonment and why you must understand the principles of application for entering the state of the wish fulfilled. This video has a couple of examples where we drop into the state of the wish fulfilled, and I trust that you will enjoy them. If you have examples that you would like me to touch on, please comment and put them below so that I can actually include them in the videos to come. So this week, we start off with self-abandonment. Abandonment is about being unrestrained, uninhibited. Actually, you leave a place, a thing, a person, usually forever. And self-abandonment now is looking at where you must abandon yourself mentally. Example of houses, property, car, the interior and exterior that has been left abandoned. It means that whoever inhabited the space did not bother to return to live there again. Now that is what abandonment really is about, is leaving behind, not revisiting. The house looks dilapidated and run down. No one's been there to care for it. No one's looking after the exterior or the interior. Now, very much like that, whatever the old state is, I mentioned that many people will come from a place of lack when they are wanting to manifest. You've got to drop that story. You literally have to be the person who says, I no longer inhabit that place, that space, and that thinking. And that is where the other part of feeling is the secret comes in. You only feel that which you are completely going to be falling in love with. Fall in love with the state you desire. Fall in love with the wish fulfilled. You are to live in the new state and no more look into the old state. In fact, you should love from that new state. Love yourself enough to give yourself the state of the wish fulfilled. Why would you want to? And if you're really battling with moving from the one state to another, ask yourself, why would I choose to stay in a state that is dilapidated and run down, one that only talks about lack, one that sees my position as lack? And where I talk about this is, for example, let's say you have a money story. If all you're talking about are your expenses, what you're doing is occupying the state of lack. Occupying a state of lack means that mentally you are buying into what's external. You are seeing what's not available to you in your 3D world. We are now to move mentally into the space, into the dimensionally larger space, into the unified field, the universe, etc., where we go in to that space at a higher level and we occupy that space mentally and emotionally. It is not unlike moving to a new home. Think of your new state as being letting go of the dilapidated house. You no longer want to be in a house that is run down. You no longer want to be in a state that is one of lack. Your new state is of the wish fulfilled, which is like living in a new home. But you will not go back to visit that space unless there was something that was there for you. So it's not unlike moving into a new home. When you return home from work, you're not going to go via your old address. You're going to go directly to your new home. And this is why I say you make the move psychologically, you make the move mentally, and you make the move emotionally and spiritually, and you trust that your physical movement is already done. That is what faith is about. Believing in the unbelievable. Unless, of course, you want to be the uncommitted. You can't commit yourself to that which you do not love. All desires are born from the higher self. It is born from I am. It is born from God. It is about seeing that, it is about tapping into that which you would love to have in your life, not from a state of lack, but from a state of I deserve it and I want it. And so, the secret to committing to self is the following. Faith, which is believing in the unbelievable until it becomes believable, and you bring in self-love. You bring in the feeling of how you have totally given over to staying and holding your state of your wish fulfilled. You are totally in love with that new state. When you're in love, you will exclude everything else. When you're in love, it will be to the exclusion of everything else. And that's what you are to do. State of the wish fulfilled is you loving that state so much because you love yourself. I do yoga classes, and this is a shout out to Yoga with Adrienne, and she says, move like you love yourself. Imagine like you love yourself. Because if you don't love what you desire, you're not going to be committed to it. And that's where the commitment part is going to become most important. And I love this saying, and I wanted to include it in here, is excuses are the crutches of the uncommitted. What does that mean for you? Have there been excuses that you've been making in terms of not achieving your desire, complaining how bad the economy might be, complaining how the job market is terrible, or complaining how I can never connect with my SP? It doesn't matter. If you're coming up with excuses, you are not committing to yourself. There can be no excuses. Drop the story. Committing to yourself is committing to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And I loved this quote in which Abraham Lincoln said, commitment is what transforms a promise into reality. Your faith transforms your desired wish into reality. Your faith and your love, your faith in your wish fulfilled and knowing that you are the operant power and that there is no doubt whatsoever you have achieved what you would desire. You desire. You know that creation is finished. I talk about this in other videos as well. It means that it is already done. And when you move from this place of I commit to having faith in my wish fulfilled, and you stay true to it and you persist, it is inevitable. Because faith is that act of self-commitment, self-commission, and that it is a reality. Faith is that this act where you self-commit to your wish fulfilled is that wish fulfilled is a reality. I talked about creatively transforming through imagination, and this is what it means, is that when you imagine things as they ought to be, disregarding of the outer circumstances of what is not there yet. When you disregard that and you step into and you move from faith and love that your desire is already fulfilled, you are building your world as you desire to be. And so you see and you feel it so real. You impress the subconscious mind and your senses with the feeling and the images of the wish fulfilled, of your new state. When you see and feel it so real, you impress your subconscious mind. You go into sats and you visualize 2 to 3 times a day. You drop into the state of your imagination and the feeling, and you impress your subconscious mind and you impress your physicality, how you feel. You bring the feeling in and your senses start to believe it with the feeling, the images, your imagination. You become the person who already has their wish. It must become reality. Why? Because imagining creates reality. In terms of imaginative occupancy, every image, every desire that you have can become an embodiment, which means that you can feel it real. If you would enter the image of your imagination, then you would know you can creatively transform it. And you'd realize that your wish, your desire, it is inevitable before it becomes reality. But you yourself must enter your imagination, knowing that your creation is 100% done. You are moving from the space. You are occupying that space where you're living in that new home that says, I have my desire. I have the new car. I have the money. So, imaginative occupancy, in order for this to become real, in order to enter the wish fulfilled, you cannot have two states that you are occupying. You can only occupy the state that you wish to have fulfilled. If you are occupying a state of lack, you are going to see lack. If you occupy the state and the imaginative scene and the feeling that it is already yours, then you will be successful at imaginatively occupying desire and your wish fulfilled. So remember, imagination is a spiritual sensation firstly, and it manifests into the physical sensation. Enter the image of the wish fulfilled. Give it all the sensory sensations from seeing yourself already occupying it, even though your physical reality says you don't have it. That Neville said, dreams are realized not by the rich, but by the imaginative. To realize your dreams, you do not have to be rich. You do not have to have 1 million followers. You must use your imagination creatively, transformatively. Our first exercise, imaginatively occupying the state of the wish fulfilled for a new car. Now look at this picture. This person is looking over their steering wheel. They're seeing the cars ahead. They're looking out through the windscreen. This person is actually seeing themselves driving. They are seeing it from an external view. And this is not how you are going to imaginatively occupy your scene. So what we're going to do is you're going to construct a scene where you are driving the car that you desire. You don't have to know how you've paid for it or bought it or whatever. All you have to have is this end scene in mind. I have my new car. You would be driving, you would be looking through the windscreen, and you may even have the music turned on. What you would do is bring in a couple of the sensory impressions that are going to help you. The one thing is, sitting in your car, you would have your hands on the steering wheel, and you're looking into traffic. You may even have the radio on. Now, to see how easily you can do this, I want you to take a couple of deep breaths in. And when you breathe out, you're going to just give yourself the space and time to relax. We're only focusing on your desire to have a new car. So you can play along with this. You're sitting in traffic and you can hear traffic all around you. So now you are now having the sensory auditory feedback that says, I'm in my car and there's traffic all around me. You may even hear the traffic report. You may hear the news in your car. And then you feel what it's like to have your hands on the steering wheel. So just bring that into focus. From the first person, this is not a third person exercise. How amazing does it feel to be driving your new car? You are so relieved, but you're also so happy. Your car smells new. It has that new car smell of leather and polish, and it's been really feeling really great for you to drive a car that you've always wanted. So you have many pieces here to construct an imaginal scene, but you bring the feeling of already having the car. You have been driving your car for a couple of days now, and you're on your way home, and you have this smile. It's so wonderful to drive your new car. And you will discard any other stories, any other ideas, any other thoughts that may come up about not having a car. You will practice the new imaginal scene. The new address is, I have a new car that I love driving. And you will loop the scene a couple of times. And you do this for about 2 minutes. Do it prior to going to sleep. Do it on waking up. And you can also do it during the day. It takes up to 2 minutes. You can even take 30 seconds and do this. You remind yourself what it feels like. You're constantly bringing in the feeling of having the new car. So our next imaginative occupancy is getting married. But this is the end result, the end outcome of having that special person. Now, I want to highlight that for anybody who's desiring to have that special person in their life, you're totally free to choose who it is that you see yourself married to. I will encourage you to see yourself married to the person who has all of the qualities, not a specific man or woman, not someone that is named, not an individual, but that specific man or woman who is embodying. They have all of the desire. They have all of the qualities you seek in a partner. And this is really so that you can have the embodiment of all that you desire. Where many people will see the end scene of watching the scene of the bride and groom, watching yourself getting married. You may even see yourself holding a bouquet or walking down the aisle. Do not do this in third person. So by now you're realizing one of the things that you must do is see this from the first person. You are in the scene. You are feeling what it feels like to be a married person. One of the big things that implies you are married is that you would see that the ring has gone onto your finger. Now, you can still feel in your imagination, you can feel the ring on your finger, but also see it. And then you would also see your partner. If you were sitting down and you look down, you would see something similar like the bouquet in your hands, looking down at your dress. For example, you're standing at the aisle and you're just married. So let's do this imaginative scene. Do a simple scene, do one that would be natural for you, and you would do one that implies it is already done. Now, here we'll go into, again, take a deep breath in. You are so excited. You are surrounded by friends and family. You may have already chosen a specific perfume that you're wearing that day. And it's the time of the year, the time of season. Maybe it's a winter wedding. Maybe it's a spring wedding. What would it feel like? What would the air feel like around you? Would that be a warm summer's day? Would that be a cooler winter's day? Just bring that in. You want to bring in as much as it would feel like to be getting married on that day. So you have a couple of sensory inputs here. You would maybe hear the priest saying, and now I pronounce you man and wife, as your husband or your wife puts that ring on. And you are smiling. Maybe they're tears. You move to tears because, wow, you love them so much. You feel beautiful in your wedding dress, or you feel so proud in your suit. You have the man or the woman that you so love. There's a mixture of relief, there's a mixture of excitement, there's a mixture of just bursting in terms of this feeling of love. So bring that scene into mind. You are looking around you, you're smiling, you look up into your partner's eyes, and you feel the love bursting forth. You hear them say, I do, and it is done. Loop the scene a couple of times. You could see yourself at the altar. You could see yourself at the reception. Someone's making a toast. Whatever feels natural for you, whatever will be implied. We now move to money. Many people struggle with seeing a desired amount. Many would love to create and have more cash in their lives. So what we're going to do is create a scene where you have received cash. What would be the obvious thing that you would do when you receive cash? You would put it into a safe place. So you could have received an envelope of money, like in the first picture here, and you're looking at the cash, you're feeling the crisp notes, you can smell money. What would that feel like? There's a heaviness to the envelope. If you were to put the cash that you've just received into your purse or your wallet, it's going to take on, it's going to become heavier. So use any one of those things to bring into your scene. You decide you're going to receive cash, and you drop into the state of going into the calm state, the peaceful state. You're letting your body know you are relaxing. You are also letting your mind know you are focusing only on how amazing how amazing it feels to receive cash. You relax. You have a certain amount of notes with you. You don't have to decide what the amount is. You see these notes with you, and you are either taking it, you have received the envelope, or you're putting these notes into your wallet. How amazing it is. You've just received cash. What matters most is, isn't it wonderful to receive cash? You're beaming. You just go into the short imaginal scene. You have received cash. How amazing it feels. You feel the notes, you smell the notes, and you put it away into your purse or your wallet. And you loop the scene a couple of times. Wow, isn't it wonderful to have received cash? And go into SATS, which is a state akin to sleep. Fall asleep to the feeling of how amazing it is to have received cash. Now you can slow this video down and go back into the particular imaginal scene, imaginative occupancy, so that you can repeat it for yourself. Our next one is for those who get paid electronically. What you're going to do is choose the particular scenario where you would get a notification to get paid. It could be your banking app, it could be SMS, it could be a notification, it could be email. It does not matter. Decide you're getting paid today. And get that feeling of having your phone, you see your phone in your hand, and you see the notification has come up, paid into your account. X amount, if you want a specific amount, but I suggest you just see that you've gotten notified that money was paid into your account. And again, how amazing it is to get paid. Isn't it wonderful? You just picked up your phone and you see it pinged you and you got this notification that says money has come into your account. Again, you go into relaxation. Opened up my phone. Oh, wow. I've gotten a notification via SMS. My bank has let me know that I've received money into my account. Remember the feeling that you love receiving money into your account. Make that the dominant feeling in your imaginal scene. You've picked up your phone and you've received money into your account. Isn't it wonderful to be paid? And you say to yourself, wow, how amazing it is to have been paid so quickly. Loop the scene until it takes on a tone of reality and that feeling of, I love getting paid. That's the state that you embody and you occupy. Loop it for 2 to 3 minutes. Do this as you're going to bed. Do this as you're going to bed, upon waking up in the morning, and you even can do this. Take 30 seconds to a minute out in your day. You may do this at lunchtime. You may do this in the mid-afternoon, so that you are constantly refueling and feeling that state of, I'm getting paid. I've gotten paid. I've received this via notification. All right, I hope you're doing well and you're following along. Our next imaginative occupancy is you're hired. You got that job. You are being congratulated. You are being welcomed to your new job. Now, in the first person, you are going to see the other person stretching out their hands to say, well done. We'd love to have you on board. Well done. We are looking forward to you joining us. You're going to see the person shaking your hand, or you will see their hand is outstretched to you. So you're going to, again, forgetting all else, forget any state of not having a job, forget any state of your job being horrible or having issues or problems. You are dropping into, you've just had this interview and you're being congratulated. We'd love to have you on board. You're beaming. This is your dream job. You're excited to share this news. Or the other scene could be you're being congratulated and you are being welcomed to the team. Welcome into the team. We are so looking forward to having you on board, and you're being introduced to other team members. That feeling of starting a new job, it's a new company, you meeting new colleagues, bring that in. A feeling of excitement. You just focus on how amazing it is to be part of a new company. Congratulations on your new job. Now, this is a special request. I would love for you, if you've been through this video up until this point, that you also imagine this for a friend of mine who would love to move to Canada. She and I have spoken about what it would be like when she moves to Canada. For one, it snows. So that is a natural thing. She would be experiencing a change in seasons. The other thing is she's going to be exploring this new country. For me, I see her exploring Toronto, Ontario, Quebec, whatever it might be. She has shared pictures with me. So that would imply that she is now in Canada. And I invite you to join me to also raise my friend in her imaginal scene, in her imaginative occupancy. Using this specifically for a friend. This is a special request, but maybe you're thinking about moving to a different country or even travel, that you have moved to this country. What's unique to the country? I know Toronto is one of the cities that she'll be visiting. So my imaginal scene is that she has taken pictures sightseeing, and she's been to Toronto, and she's sharing them with me. So in her imaginal scene, she's gone sightseeing, she's sending me a picture from Toronto, and she's telling me that she's loving it. Another imaginal scene for her where she's waking up in her new home. She's in a cabin and it's just snowed. She loves coffee, so she's enjoying her coffee, looking out into the garden from her cozy, warm living room. She's smelling the coffee, the wood burning, and she's feeling relief, but also gratitude. Gratitude that she's living her desired dream. She has moved. She moved psychologically and she moved physically and emotionally, and it's her new address. So if you're wanting to move to a new city, a new country, a new location, bring in those things that would be simple. It would imply that you've moved there, and it would be natural for you to feel it. And there's another thing that I want to bring to your attention. You can take any of these scenes and see it from the third person for someone else. Like I will be doing for my friend, where I see her sending me all of these pictures. She's in the pictures, and she's sending me a picture saying, I visited Toronto, or I was in Ontario, whatever that may be. And I feel the happiness for her and the joy that I feel now that she's moved to her new residence, her new country, her new home. And I'm congratulating her because my friend is so happy. I'm on a phone call with her and she's telling me about all of her wonderful travels. So please be imaginative, creative in terms of what you would like to see for others and for yourself. So from this week's video, what insights have you gained from what we've gone over today? And I'd love to hear what changed for you. Is there something new that you've learned? Is there an action you will be applying out of today's video? Loved putting together this week's video. It's just taken me to a whole new level of Neville's work in terms of that occupancy. And I trust that you have also learned something out of this. I want you to share your wins with me. I want you to tell me if there are any imaginative scenes that you would love to have me go over. Also, put down what scenes you are working on. The more you can share about your scenes, the more we can also imagine that for you. In terms of today's takeaway, imagine lovingly for yourself. Occupy the state of your desire. Occupy the state of your wish fulfilled in a way that you have moved totally, psychologically, emotionally, mentally, that the physical move is inevitable. My name is Fazila Bijo, and I look forward to joining you in our next video, which will be the third part of chapter Imagining Creates Reality from The Law and the Promise. Please be sure to read through the chapter and share your insights with me. Until next week, bye for now.